Hello, you're listening to Six Music with me, Russell Howard, and my friend John.
Hello.
And my friend Sam.
Good morning.
Hope you're very well. I don't know what you're doing this Sunday. Maybe, hopefully, you're still tucked up, snuggled in bed, and you're just listening to that song. It's quite a nice song to wake up to. So, we'll keep this one quite short. What we're going to be doing this week, what are we going to do, lads?
Oh, we're going to do everything.
Really?
I get nothing in
The
the
works.
at the same time.
How sexy was that when you put the works?
Only time that's going to sound
In fact,
sexy.
we've got an email already. We had an email from some girl called Jenny last week that really fancied you based on your voice.
Really?
That's right. So
She's ill.
she's ill. We'll say hello to Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
No, don't say it like that. Hello.
How are you, Jenny? You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, just speak solely to Jenny, go on.
Hello, Jenny.
No, do that. Make it all sexy for her. Ask her out somewhere, go on.
Do you want to do you want to go to the pub? Have a drink or two?
There you go. That was specifically for you, Jenny. Hope you're very well indeed. And there was a lady from Bath that quite fancied you as
Yeah,
well.
but not based on my voice.
Well, no, based.
Howdo.
Yeah, based on your problems.
Coming out to the swimming pool for a bit.
Is it? Wow, those are two premium dates you're already offering. The pub and a swim afterwards. Hey, the rapids are on. You and me. You ever been to Romsey Rapids? We'll get into this later. But on today's show, we've got all the usual features. We've got Am I Normal, Time Travel, Let's Play God, Overheard Conversations, and this week, me and the guys, me and my crew, we've been to the London Dungeon, the Tate, and Bristol Zoo. And also today, we're going to find out who our football team's going to be. It's quite tight. You can still win. John, what can they text us on?
They can text us on 64046.
Or they can email us russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. We had a bit of an incident during that song. Adam, who's our producer, he leant down to press one of the buttons. I don't really know, what goes on with the buttons. And I sort of... I don't know what... I said something to you.
You touched me.
I did touch you, but there was... I just rubbed his back and said, hey, you're doing a good job. I don't think I said that. I didn't
No,
go...
you didn't. You said, you're hot, aren't you?
Yeah, no, that was it. It was really warm. And then I touched him in a few other places to check if the warmth was being transferred around his body, and it got a bit weird here in the studio. But it's fine now. We're all fine. And I felt both of you today. In fact, I felt you up at the London Dungeon.
When?
On Wednesday. When else do we go to the London Dungeon? Hey, that moves us quite nicely. We've had we had some emails this week of stuff to do. The first was from Sarah in Bath saying go to the Tate Modern, and we went. What was our opinion, lads? I
Rubbish.
thought it was absolute. Well, you can talk because that's rich. I thought it was rubbish. My exact word. I got really teenage and started going, "It's rubbish. Alton Towers is better." And then John went, "I think you find you're supposed to be the art," and got really profound. You
said
did.
like that.
You did.
They've got slides. That's all they've got is slides.
Yeah,
Fancy slides. Which
exactly.
is fine for you because you wanted to go on the slides.
Yeah.
So I made a comment about maybe it's your reaction to the slides that is the focus of the piece.
Oh, exactly. What was your reaction to the slides?
I hated it.
Absolutely false. I'll tell you what your reaction to the slide was. I wonder who goes faster, if you're a small person or a fat person. And then he sat there watching him. Fat one there, pretty fast. Small one, quite fast. Oh, fat and small, that's a bit exciting. Sat there laughing maniacally. It's like with that time we went to Aqualand in Spain. I've told you about this before, Sam. We went to Aqualand. I was really excited and just like running around all these slides, lots of water, lots of really sort of cool Spanish people. Like sun was beating down. Me and our other flatmate John, really excited. We get in. He doesn't want to go on any of the rides.
Been there, done that.
Exactly. He went there 2 years ago and he's not willing to do it again. Unbelievable.
Oh, but he did it again. I just didn't want to get wet.
But all you did was... But that's why I said let's
I
go...
don't like getting wet.
It's all right, it's going to be fine. And then he just sat there. It was really lovely because I've never seen anyone as happy. It was so wonderful. He was just sat there at the bottom of the slides, like the 4-1 that goes down, where 4 people can go down at the same time. John was just sat there at the side laughing at people as they sort of careered into each other, smashing, like literally carnage. And you just see him at the bottom fully bearded up like Sutcliffe, just giggling away. It was great. So I went to the Tate, and that was the best thing about the Tate, and this says a lot about it, was the food, I thought.
Yeah.
It's great food, wasn't it? And you two got really smooth.
Too much mint in my mushy peas. I'll say that. Minted mushy peas is fine, but not, mushy peed mint.
Duly noted.
Mint on my chips.
People of the Tate, if you're listening, Jon Richardson is an angry man. But both of you got really smooth, because like John was in a foul mood, going, bloody old Tate Modern, don't want to be here. And then you got all randy with that lady, Sam, when she came over.
That sounds incriminating.
Yeah, no, but she came over. Do you remember this, John? He got really smooth, and that lady came over and went, do you want chips? And you actually said, yes, that would be most agreeable. It was unbelievable. And then you started getting all kind of... That was it. You started going on about the yummy mummies. Do you remember that, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you sort of, let's go down to Notting Hill. We could see yummy mummies there.
I think it was for the overheard conversations, in my defence.
Absolute false, absolute false. And then, so that was Dole. So then after that, we had another email from Tom in Dartford that said, do something that scares you. And as the Tate Modern was crap, we thought, well, let's go to the London Dungeon. Now, who found the London Dungeon scary? I don't know if you've been at home, and email us in if you've been on russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk, or text us on 64046. It was terrifying, I found. It was because we got into a lot of situations where basically I was made to look like a fool. We got there at the beginning, and the actors, basically if you're not been, there's these kind of actors that are getting like paid like pittance. They're like RADA trained, and they go, "Welcome to the London Dungeon. I'm Manky Old Sue. I run the pie shop," and you kind of sit around. And when you're sort of being given one of those presentations by somebody, if you're with friends, then if you're like me, what you think is, well, I'll tickle John's bum. Right, then he'll start giggling. It's like school assembly, and then he'll get told off and made to sit in the corner. But it got off to a bad start because some woman's like, "Oh, the woe of it all." So I tickled John's bum. He turned around and cuffed me right in the gonads, and I went, "Gah!" The noise came from, "Gah!" When you're properly kicked in the scronks, and like, "Gah!" So that was 1-0 John. And then we went to the next bit where, remember that torture section?
Yeah.
Superb.
We went there, and he said, "Right, I need a volunteer. I'm going to show you how I torture people." And so I pushed John, and he went, "Oh, we have a volunteer." And in my head I'm going, yes, John's going to get done. And then he grabbed me and put me down the front. And you were taking photos of this, weren't you, at this point?
I've got a full document.
Now, I haven't told you, but I was absolutely terrified, because basically he pulls out a knife and stuff like that, goes, "Now, can we guess where this goes?" Right? And all the people watching, like, I know what's going to happen, and people started shouting out, "Cut his throat," and stuff like that, and I'm sort of sat there, and they're like,
you weren't getting on too well with the group, were
it was unbelievable. So, because I'd earlier made noise, now they're like, "Cut his throat." Do him! Yeah, exactly. Pee on his eyes. Don't do that. But the horrible thing is, you're sort of sat there, because he sort of said, "Yeah, now this, we stick his tongue out, we chop his tongue off, and then we feed the tongue back to him." People are like, "Yeah, feed him his tongue." And then, when he turned to me and went, "Turn around." And then I had to face against the wall, and he pulled out this stick with like a blade on the end, and then went, "Can anyone else guess where this goes?" And at that point, I think I smelt whiskey on his breath. I was absolutely at that point. You kind of think, well, what if he snaps? What if this is the moment when he sort of he's had enough? He's a RADA trained actor. He could be doing films. He could be on the stage, and he suddenly thinks, "I'm going to kill this bloke. I'm going to put this stick right up his jacksie." And it would have been good for the show, but very awkward. I was terrified. And then, so that's 2-0, John. And then right at the end, do you know that? And Sam tapped me on the back. We're like walking around in the dark, and Sam tapped me on the back and went, "Look at this." I turned around. There's a 60-year-old man, right? 6-year-old man just staring at me. And he just went, "Hello." So I went, "Jesus Christ." And he was like, "No, I'm Gribble." I don't even think he worked there. It was just some creepy old man who wanders around London Dungeon, calls himself Gribble, gets his cock out occasionally, claims to be one of the rides.
There was an old man who used to work there who died 20 years ago.
But see, that's the thing. If you killed yourself, nobody would pay any attention, because it has to be grim. If you kind of slit your throat and go, "I've had enough," people are like, "Oh, very good, very good."
There was it was a juxtaposition, I wasn't there, because I couldn't really get into it, because you're walking around following people who all talk a little bit like Russell Brand, let's be honest. "Yeah, follow me down here, this is where everyone got killed," right? And then down the stairs, there's a Stanner chairlift for people.
Yeah, that was great.
Not getting down the stairs. Which, don't get me wrong, if they'd had them in medieval times, would have been a right-on society, but I don't think they did.
James Thor her doing medieval. "You may be struggling with the stairs, I know I am." Did you enjoy it, Sam?
It was fantastic, absolutely amazing.
What's your favourite bit?
I think it's the ride that terrified you two.
Oh yeah, we've actually we're going to put them on the. Have you got the email? Yeah. If you want to have a look at how. Oh no, that's a different thing. I've just been past. But you've got the email address where we've got a photo of John looking like a terrified mouse.
Are we giving this out for general access? We don't want to crash the website.
We'll
put them on the website. We'll put them on the.
Yeah, let's do that. We've got some photos taken of me looking like I'm melting, and John looking terrified.
I don't remember being scared. I really don't remember being scared. And when you look at the photo and you think, "I wasn't scared," and then you look at that and you think, "Well,
it's so lovely."
I must have been a little bit scared.
But your face is so wonderful at that.
It's horrible.
But you look absolutely terrified. It's fantastic. Anyways, more of that later. So yeah, well, basically what we're going to try and sort out this week, we were trying to do it last week, but nobody texted in or emailed in to try and find a football team that we can sponsor and every week have like an interview with them. And then, did you see in the paper?
Yeah.
Lemmy from Motorhead's nicked our idea. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Lemmy.
But I don't know where the newspaper story is. I can't remember the gist of it, but he's sponsoring some under-10 side in Lincoln. So, and like that's a week after I said, "Hey, come on, let's sponsor it." So he's obviously listening to it. You know, he's nicked that idea.
All I'm saying is, if Metallica got a London Dungeons this week, then something's going on,
Absolutely.
and we need to interject.
Yeah, and Motorhead as well.
Yeah, well, I thought we'd done Motorhead. Who are Motorhead? I don't really know the difference between Motorhead and
You went
Metallica.
in big there. You went in big. Lemmy is from Motorhead.
Yeah.
Metallica are from a different band. Metallica.
Yeah, I know they're different bands, that's why I did it, because if I said Motorhead again... Oh, maybe it would have been funny if I said Motorhead, because that would have implied some sort of... They're nicking all our stuff.
Yeah, they
Whereas
have.
I thought each
Well,
one
I
different
found-
band would nick a different idea.
It's
from
true
us.
though, mate. I saw Lemmy from Motorhead outside our flat nicking our stuff out of a bin.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah. What's your game? Oi, Lemmy, get out of our bins.
So Motorhead, are they sort of thrash metal?
They do that. The ace of spades. The ace of spades. Quick, have a look. Oh, finished crispy pancakes. Nick it. Look, they're looking.
I prefer the country version.
How does that go?
Who are the country band who cover all those songs? Oh, I should have remembered this before I got into...
How does it go? Sing it.
It's the same song, but done
The
country
ace
and
of
western.
spades.
Yeah. Ding-a-ding-ding-ding-ding-ding, except on a banjo.
Oh, really?
They've got a whole album out.
Oh, we should try. Oh, is that the guys that do rolling down the street, smoking endo, sipping on gin and juice, laid back with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. Oh, I think we've got them. Is that
Oh, Hey See Dixie, yeah.
Hasty Dixie? Excellent, superb.
Cracking stuff.
There was that was Adam there telling us who it was. Well, yeah, we should really have lined that up so we could talk about it. But yeah, basically we're going to try and find a team. So you can text us 64046 or email russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. Now, what'd be really great if there's a team in Lincoln, if you're in Motorhead's league,
Yeah.
It's a hell of a derby, isn't it?
come over to 6, right? We'll sponsor your side and we'll smash them out the park. How great would that be?
Or we get Lemmy's team off him. Whatever Lemmy's giving
Yeah,
you, we'll give you that and a pound more.
They don't want
Absolutely.
skulls on their shirts. They don't want skulls on their
Yeah,
shirts.
what-
They
what-
want your face on their shirt.
Yeah, kids. So all the 9-year-olds, right? Whatever you're listening, whatever Lemmy's giving you, we'll give it to you more.
That sounds
yeah.
really bad, doesn't it?
Exactly. That sounded like I was shouting that from an ice cream van in Lincoln. Oi, kids! Whatever Lemmy's giving you, we'll double it. Get in the van.
You
Get in
wouldn't
the
buy
van.
an ice cream off a van playing Motorhead, would you? That's a bit aggressive for an ice cream van music.
It's always the same though, isn't it? Bow, da, da, da.
99.
Yeah, that'd be quite nice though, wouldn't it?
Funny feet.
What? A Screwball Scramble's the one you always go for.
I like the oyster. Is it the oyster?
Yeah. Now we're talking.
Cracking
Oh,
stuff.
I haven't had an ice cream from a van in many years. That was exciting. It's like that wonderful bit of stand-up from Eddie Murphy where he. And it's really true, whenever the ice cream van, when you're about like 8 years old, you'd hear it and then you just run around going, ice cream man! Ice cream man! Did you have an ice cream van when you grew up, Sam?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's still an exciting concept.
Down the village lane, or was it just some duffer and just ice cream from a bag?
It's about an 18... I think they're like 18-year-olds who all got their first jobs driving ice cream.
Oh no, ours was quite an old man who used to drive this really rickety old van, and he'd sort of offer us ice creams. It was all... No, don't look at me like it's dodgy. It was fine. He was an ice cream... He was Mr. Whippy. He was the original Mr. Whippy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told us.
Yeah, whatever.
Is
My
it-
ice cream man used to tell me jokes. I think he's why I went into comedy. He used
Really?
to give me free bobblies and tell me jokes.
But how wrong is that? So you obviously built up a relationship with him, but then, as we found out last week, you were trying to steal his business.
Hey, no.
All those Mars bars that you got from that shop.
His
cheap.
was a seasonal business. I only work winter.
Nice. Well, yes, that's what we're going to get to. Also, we had a really great email from some bloke who thinks that John is Mark Owen. So we have to clear that up.
I'll take that.
Yeah? Oh, really?
That works on 2 levels.
Yeah, it does.
I say it works on 2 levels. There are 2 levels to it, but neither are funny.
But you have to prove that you're not Mark Owen, John. So probably the best way
There's
to
no
do.
real way of doing that.
There is. You could sing "Take That's Babe."
Yeah, but that would only stoke the fire. Because when I sing,
He says, "Prove me wrong." That's Alan Anderson.
Alan Anderson.
Yeah. Should we get a photo of you? That's probably the best way to do it.
There's a photo of me cacking myself on the website already, isn't there?
You won't see Owen do that,
Yeah.
but but sing a little bit of Babe. Go on.
Oh, I don't want to do this.
Go on. It's right. Me and Sam, you be Howard, and I'll be Gary.
Why aren't you Howard when your name's Russell Howard?
Because he's got a lisp and he's a weirdo.
About right, then.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite weird though at school because it was really weird how certain girls fancied like different members of like everyone fancied Mark and then a few fancied Gary and then like the girls who were really exciting but the lunatic girls that used to sort of like shoot themselves with nail guns always fancied like Jason or Howard. Like Laura Holloway was obsessed. Oh, I really like him. Yeah, but you kick bins.
How many girls at your school used to shoot themselves with nail guns?
You've obviously never met Carla. But I can't really get into that. That's it'd be great if she's listening now. Just, oh really? Yeah, she shot herself with a nail gun. Apparently, that was a rumour that went around that's why she was the hardest girl in school. Plus, she threw a javelin apparently 50 metres.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Tessa Sanderson?
No, it was. Remember that Carla was at school. She was huge.
Scary.
She was like 7 foot tall when we were 12. She was absolutely massive. There were rumours that she came from Chernobyl. Here is the little things by the Zootons. You listen to Six Music with me, Russell Howard, my friends John and Sam.
Morning.
Morning. Well, it was a bit weird because John and our producer Adam went off to get coffees, and they left for about 7 minutes, and John's just come back in the room pulling a funny face. What happened?
Oh, I put my cup in and the thing came out, and I've ordered hot chocolate. I thought, got a bit mental, crazy. I thought you had a cappuccino this morning.
You sounded properly northern. I've gone out, right? I've ordered cappuccino, frothy coffee, I call it.
And there was a little bit of black stuff on the side of the cup, which I assumed was concentrated hot chocolate powder, and greedily I licked it to see if it was nice, and it turns out it was petrol with faeces in it. Oh. Well, that's what it tasted like, at least. It wasn't nice, and now it's in my mouth.
That's nice. Me and John have had a few coffee-related incidents this week because we've been trying out different coffee drinks, and this leads quite nicely into our My Normal. But whenever we like a coffee drink, I don't know if you know this, but we then I ring up John, and I'll say quite loudly, "Russell Howard speaking. We all go for gingerbread latte. We all go. Repeat over." But I did that in a crowded Starbucks, and people were looking at me like I was genuinely insane. Like I didn't know how to use a mobile. Like it was like some sort of walkie-talkie. Hello, mate. Anyways, so that was the news. Heard that about 10 minutes ago. Now, what we're going to do after each news section, we're going to do our own news of the week. Now, the one that really caught my eye this week. Do you see this? Cat gives birth to 2 puppies in Brazil.
It's a miracle of nature. Though.
It's not a miracle of nature, though, is it? Because the only evidence they've got to back it up is a photo of a cat next to 2 tiny puppies, and that's it. We could do that. We could get
rubbish.
Absolutely. Well, let's get a photo of Sam next to 2 tiny hippos, and then we could put that in Bella magazine or something like that with a big spread of you like wild-eyed staring, I gave birth to hippos. There's no evidence whatsoever. And like, is it even possible? You can't do that, can you? I once saw a giraffe.
That's a horrible scene if that is possible. What she must have had to do to get that in.
Well, no, but I understand why she did it, because my friend Rob told me that apparently cats have barbed wangs. Did you know that? Yeah, no, don't look at me like that. You're pulling that coffee face again, John. But my friend Rob
You're talking about barbed wangs on cats. Pardon me for furrowing my brow a tad.
You butto furrower. No, but apparently it's true. I didn't ask for evidence. Why would you? Although I was tempted to look at it at YouTube the other day, but you don't want to... That's something, because my computer's playing up, and I thought, well, I'll fix it, before I take it in, and then put But apparently they have barbed wangs.
There's a lot of animals that have that.
Oh, really? Well, it's a horrible design for the lady cat, because it's that... 2 things spring to mind. That first of all, the birth. If the tomcat's there and just sort of go, "Oh, it hurts, Dave. Sure, I love you. It hurts so much," like that, and then here comes our little creation. Oh, I'm a dad. I'm a dad. Roof. You slag. You absolute... No. But you can totally understand. If it's a barbed wang, that's it. Think about if you're a lady cat, right? Having sex must feel horrible, like a shopping trolley clicking in or something like that, that's horrible. But it's not as if you can't do anything else. You can't like have a bit of a grope and a feel because they've got claws, and you can't do any licking or anything because it'd be like being attacked by sandpaper. So no wonder they went with dogs. Dogs are absolute studs. Dogs will go with a man wearing chinos, shell suits, jeans. They've got no class issues. Absolute studs, dogs.
Damn right.
Damn right indeed. What if you could see any animal crossbreed? What would you go for, John? You're giving me a really funny look at the
I'm still on the barbed wang thing.
Yeah, it's true.
I know it's true, yeah.
If anyone here could text us in on 64046 or email russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
If you've got a barbed wang.
No,
Justine Gaffney.
That's a big shout out to the cats. But if anyone here could excite their cat and send us in a photo of the cat with his barbed wang out, that would be brilliant.
When you say barbed, it's not like it's always barbed, is it? It's got little bits that make sure that when it goes in, it can't come out again.
Sounds like somebody knows a lot about it. Hey, cat man.
I've been bored this week. I don't like cats. But it's a genetic thing, isn't it, to make sure that once the ship docks,
I love the idea that the cat's describing that. Now, don't worry, but when the ship, as it were, docks, it will feel excruciating. But it must be. Imagine that. Imagine if you had a barbed. There are. There's pluses. To be honest, we shouldn't really be getting into this, but Let's just have a thought there. Let's
just take a moment.
But if you could... See, but it makes you think about crossbreeding. The best animal, without a doubt, if you could cross a monkey and a dog, then you're really onto something there. Cute and dependable.
A donkey.
You're going for a donkey?
Or a mog.
A mog? Yeah. That's an easy job. That's one. When tigers have sex with lions, they call them ligers. They don't say it in a Bristolian voice. Oh, you've got a liger there, I see. Yeah, lovely little liger we got. Now, this moves us on to Am I Normal, I guess. This is my favourite part of the show. It's the part of the show, basically, you can email or text us with the quirky things you feel compelled to do. You know, the things you can't not do. Maybe you talk to animals, maybe you eat in a certain way, maybe you clap when you see a pigeon. Anything is welcome, because maybe everyone else does it, and we can create a community of freaks. Now, this really is Jon's section of the show, because he suffers from massive OCD, so we find out something that he's compelled to do every week. What is it this week, my friend?
I've got my proper one, right, this week.
Go ahead.
Which resolves around the word twiddle. But we'll get on to that in a minute. We just had a quick one when we were upstairs getting coffees. It turns out Adam will happily take the top newspaper on a pile of newspapers. Whereas if I'm buying a paper, always the second one down at very least, because you know pilferers have been in there and taken all the free magazines out of the top one.
No,
and it's all higgledy-piggledy. It's not neat and tight. And I'll always take the second paper. I think everyone does that, don't they? And that's true of anything.
I'll take the third, because I go on the basis that everyone's going to have had the second. The first one's just written off, you know, that's been ripped to shreds. That's like, you know, a cat's been at it. The first one. And then, so if you go to the third, you know, nobody's had their hands on it. To be honest, I'm not bothered. I don't think people exist that steal magazines.
Oh, they do, Russell.
Have you ever...
Wait till you go and try and get your free Christmas DVD and it's not in there, and then live in that world.
Yeah, exactly. What noise was that, Sam? I just heard...
a low, angry growl.
Yeah, but
that sounded like a cello.
Yeah.
That properly sounded like a musical instrument.
I've hit new depths. I'm quite impressed.
Yeah, very good.
But who's going to nick that? As if you're going to see some burglar, you know, oh, look, Sunday Times Culture. What do they do? What do they do, John?
They'll buy the cheapest paper on the market, let's say the Sunday Herald, and they'll take all the DVDs out of all the other papers, and then they get home and it's DVD time at Barry's house, and he's only paid for one paper. And me, I only bought that paper because it had the DVD I wanted. I get home and it's just sit and stare at the wall time or watch Antiques Roadshow because Barry's got my DVD.
Just had a text actually from Barry that says, "Come round my house, it's DVD time." Yes, I love Sundays.
You and Barry.
But they're rubbish. Come round mine, we'll watch Chocolat. It's always that. That's the same film. Hang on a minute, John just fell his coneheads on air.
Scratched.
What are you doing?
You can't reveal these secrets.
I just mentioned the film Chocolat and you started touching yourself.
Well, I'm drinking hot chocolate as it goes at the moment.
Well, that has to be an Am I Normal. When certain, you know, cinema film, I'm like that with Titanic and just rubbing your nuts. Sam, what do you do?
It's not normal. Plenty, but I think for me, it's holding my breath as a fast train goes past the platform. That's my worst thing. And actually trying to rescue my girlfriend from possibly being sucked into said train.
Really?
That's my hideous habit. Yeah.
Yours
every time.
I'm a little bit worried about mine this week. We'll get on to yours at home. You can text us in. We got some really amazing ones last week. You can text us on 64046, or you can email russell.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. Now, mine this week, I'm a little bit scared to say this, but I the other day was staring at a group of pensioners. There was about 7 or 8 of them, and they're all eating. And in my head, I started thinking, if you had to have sex with one of them, which one would it be, right? And then I was kind of, I don't really want to think about that. And part of my voice was going, no, you have to. One of them has to get it. Which one is it, right? So I then said to my girlfriend Kerry, I said, hey, which one of those old ladies would you have sex with? But rather than getting shocked by it, she agreed with the same lady in blue.
And if you're out there...
Yeah, if you're out there...
It's on.
It's on. Come round mine, we'll have some treacle tart.
Kerry's picked a girl?
No,
a lady?
Well, no, that was the specifications, and then we both did it the other way around. If we were a man, and if we were a lady, which one? We both went for some bloke with braces and a really red face.
Take the girl out for dinner. Maybe got in the cinema.
Oh, listen to you. When was the last date?
Take her swimming.
Yeah. When was the last date you went on? We'll get into that later.
February 2005.
Was it?
I say date.
Okay. So, John, the twiddle thing.
Twiddle's something I've done since I was a kid. Right?
Yeah.
I think twiddle means many different things to many different people.
Yeah.
I think we all have. You know, you talk about twiddling knobs, don't you, on radios and that. Twiddle, to me, is when you've got, like, a pillowcase, perfect example.
Yep.
Or
a wife, as we found out last week.
Indeed.
Do you want to tell everyone about that?
No.
Hey, come on, fill them in so they know the backstory.
I had a role-play game when I was a child where my wife was a pillow.
Carry on.
Thanks. You just can't do that. If I'd just glossed over it, would have been fine. If we'd have talked about it in detail so people know I want mental, it would have been fine. And now it's just...
Sorry.
Anyway, you get a pillowcase, right?
Yeah.
You've got your open end at the bottom end, and then when they've folded they've folded this true on t-shirts and everything, the hemline, they fold it over and they sew it.
Yeah.
And there's a little tiny bit of fabric just over the sewing line.
This is really erotic. Now that she's your wife.
It's like you with your cotton buds. You know, you like sticking cotton buds in your ear. With me, it's getting that little bit of fabric underneath the hem and trapping it between my finger and the fingernail and running my finger the length.
Oh no, that is very nice.
And it works on t-shirts. Like with pillows, I have to have 2 pillows with the open end at either side, so I can lay with my hands out, one over my right shoulder, one over my left shoulder, and twiddle all 5 fingers.
But see, I don't really. See, I wouldn't have. I'd call that running the finger gauntlet. I wouldn't call that twiddling.
Yeah, well, you live in a far more elaborate world than me.
Yeah, but I see twiddling for me is moving so that your thumb and your index finger, you're moving, you're kind of oscillating them. Like, it always comes down to, like, imagining, like, you know, sort of imaginary nipples, invisible nipples, the twiddle.
It does always come down to imaginary nipples. No matter what we're talking about.
We had a really great email here that said, what a brilliant way to wake up. Russell Howard and Mark Owen, my 2 favourite people in the entire solar system.
Thanks.
So that even takes into account
I was gone for a while, but babe, I'm back again.
Please play the magic numbers. We'll try to later, or take that. Excellent. Well, we can have a session track with your man. Now, we've had some really great Am I Normals. We had one from Amy Walker. She sent us one that said, hey Russ, I speak to worry dolls. I didn't know what worry dolls were. I don't know if anyone listening at home. Sam does.
Yeah, absolutely. They're Guatemalan good luck things. Well, not even good luck. It's more to sort of de-stress you, isn't it?
Oh really? So you talk to a little doll?
You talk to them, you have them around. Apparently it's quite soothing.
I used to. My mum collects dolls. It's quite weird. She's got loads of them. She's got loads of, like, Buddhas and dolls at the minute. So last Christmas we got a load of... We woke up early and me and my little brother were quite bored, so we put the dolls into various positions with the Buddhas. So that the entire family woke up and it looked like there'd been some sort of gangbang. Anyways, my little... so she says, yeah, hey Russ, I speak to worry dolls. My little Guatemalan treasures sleep under my pillow and only work if you voice your anxieties out loud. They then stew over them through the night and leave you far less heavy-hearted the next day. Try it.
Piffle.
Wow.
That's strong.
I think that's
I don't know anyone who hasn't had a problem and gone to bed and it's better in the morning. It's not because you talk to a teddy bear, is it?
What if you die?
Overnight?
Yeah.
Well, then it's better. You're not stressed, are you?
Exactly. So there's... But you don't know them, is the first point, because you don't see them until you reach the spirit world. Sorry
There's a
about
belter here from David,
Yep.
if I might read this one out.
But in fairness, though, I've seen you talk to Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, but I am really lonely. When you see that, that's your cue to say something to me and just stop staring at me from the corner of my bedroom.
It's funny, though.
He says... Oh, anyway, let's not do
No,
it.
you can't not go there.
It's really mental, this
No,
one.
no, it's fine.
When did you last have a date? Well, if you count Winnie the Pooh, February 2005, but things got tricky after that.
But no, what I say is that you said that was piffle from Amy Walker,
Yeah.
yet you talked to Winnie.
Yeah, but I'm aware that it's not, you know, he's not going to respond. I don't pretend that Winnie actually helps my problems.
Teddy Ruxpin does, though. He's got a tape.
Oh, Teddy Ruxpin's unbelievable. Oh.
Anyways, what's that?
I'm an idiot, aren't I?
No, you're not. You're lovely.
Right, David has texted in, right?
Hey, Dave.
Are we allowed to pick up on grammar on emails?
Here we go. We're entering a world of pain. Go on.
I don't know why
Da, 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 da. Go on.
I don't know why all one sentence,
Yep.
space then a comma.
Yeah.
Right, so that's fine. Let's just do the joke now, because otherwise I'm going to get angry at everyone in the world. I don't know why, this must be a childhood thing, but every time I see a funeral procession, I have to hold my collar until I see a dog. Am I okay?
No, you're not. That's really wrong.
Serious trouble there.
Yeah. Why? What? You have to hold your collar until you see a dog? Well, why would that be a childhood thing? Were there more dogs when you were a kid?
Yeah, I don't know.
Is that a superstitious
I think
thing?
he's implying like an uncle whispered it to him once at a funeral. You know, if ever a procession goes past, you've got to hold your collar till you see a dog, or bad things will happen.
And you know the dog is, don't you? That's the dead person. They've come back to life. And if they look at you, it's fine. Then you can let go of the collar. If you don't, then you'll fall in a canal.
Toy dogs and pictures of dogs don't count. If you try and trick the dead by looking at a lassie doll, they'll get you.
Are you my real uncle? No, I'm not. Do you want a shandy? I've got, hi Russell, I think I'm fairly sane, but my friend Catherine, this is from Lucy Anderson, my friend Catherine is scared of batteries and thinks microwaves give off radioactive waves.
She's perfectly right.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
Well, they give away microwaves, hence the name microwave.
Yeah, that's how you cook stuff.
Yeah. Ding!
That was an impression of a microwave there by...
That wasn't a full impression.
Take that, Mark Owen.
Full impression is...
Ding. My mum, a couple of family parties ago, got so drunk she was dancing to the noise the microwave makes when it defrosts chicken. That was a great size. Put it on medium. Oh, that's the stuff. What have you got, Sam?
I've got a wonderful one from Abby saying, am I normal? And is it... he just won't eat white food, apparently. No reason for this. It's just wrong.
She won't eat white food?
Of any description.
Racist cow.
Absolutely.
What's your game? What's her name, Abby?
Abby. We can find her.
Yeah.
Milk?
Yeah, milk. Meringues.
Oh,
Fun,
I bet she cheats though. I bet she cooks a meringue and just drops a little bit of food colour in it.
Yeah, well, that's how you can get away with it.
That could work.
But you can't have ice cream.
Neapolitan.
Can't lick snow.
Ice cream's not really white, is it? The vanilla is yellow.
Never kiss a snowman or an albino. Whoops. Probably should have left that alone. Sorry. If there's any snowmen out there. Let's go to a song, shall we? Have we got any more?
Yeah, I've got one in from Nat, who says, "Hello, Russell."
Hello.
There's 3 of us here, Nat. Thanks very much. I do lots of things by numbers, particularly the number 11. I also get up at particular times. Which is weird, me. I only get up when it isn't a time. I also get up at particular times, e.g. 6:06, 6:26.
That's incredible, if you can actually do that, because nobody, I haven't met anyone. I mean, me and John got up at 8 o'clock this morning, but we still only rose at 8:06, didn't we, love?
I was already up.
You were not.
You woke yourself, you know, you woke yourself up with a snore this morning. It was so loud, you woke yourself up.
I don't remember it.
I heard...
All I remember, I woke up this morning to see my brother hunkered down on you.
Don't use the phrase hunkered, not a sandwich.
In his pants. And all I heard was you go, no, we don't get up till 8. That's all. I didn't wake myself up by snoring. I'm going to need evidence of that, Owen. John is Mark Owen. We're starting there's a man called Alan Anderson who simply will not let it lie. He does not believe, despite the fact there are photos on the website of us at Alton Towers, not Alton Towers, at the London Dungeon you can look at, to prove that he's not Mark Owen, but I quite like the idea of just keeping it going.
BBC 6 Music.
So, we've had a few emails. We had a really cool email from, Steve McClay. Tar for playing the Rat Russell, one of my all-time favourites, makes me angry and happy at the same time, rather like a spiteful Parky telling children to keep off his freshly cut grass. A strange quirk of mine, I suppose, is I put coffee in the fridge, not just fresh coffee, which I believe is common, but instant too. Fair enough. We are really, concerning the cat wangs that I was on about earlier.
Your face when you said that.
Oh, really?
Never looked more like Moira Stewart.
Oh, nice. John Le Quesnay, probably misspelled that. Subject, barbed wangs. Cheers, John. Hi, enjoying the show, working in the library. That is danger.
Yeah.
Listen to Cat's bits while she's supposed to be referencing. What are you doing? I just learning about cat's dicks. Son of a gun.
That's bad news, isn't it? If we were making him laugh, he'd have been thrown out by now.
Yeah. No, it is really, isn't it? Yeah. He's laughing in a really quiet way. He's like a monk enjoying. Oh, very good.
I'm listening at a funeral. It's helping me stay calm.
Yeah, exactly. But I am holding on to my collar, what I wouldn't give for a Doberman. There is a human homologue, I'm not sure if that's a human homologue of the Right, let's read this out proper. There is a human homologue of the feline penile barb, a common benign condition called pearly penile porpals. Wow, what have you got? I've got pearly penile porpals, the 3 Ps. It's believed by some to be an evolutionary hangover from an evolutionary ancestor of mankind with penile barbs. Honest, here's a reference, and you can check that out if you want to. www.emedicine.com/durham/topic313.htm. Cheers, John. P.S. I'm a pathologist, so I'm allowed to know this stuff. PPS, I really like cat's wangs. So, he might not have said that on the end. I might have just added that, being naughty. Now, this is a cool part of the show. This is time travel. It's quite simple. You can text us in on 64046 or email russell.6music@bbc.co.uk. Where would you go and why? That's the exciting thing. If we could travel back, Sammy, where would you go?
I'd go back to 1990, the summer of 1990, to be more specific. I think it would be the first brush with the law I ever had.
Really?
Yeah, I was pouring a pint for my friend. I was 8. And it basically...
You were 10, what are you talking about? 1990?
It was 1990, yeah, I can count as well. I couldn't count at the time. I've always been bad at maths.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So let's take this back. So you're 10 years old, you're pulling a pint.
Yep, and the village bobby comes up behind me and tells me that I may or may not go to prison for this. And I've done this for a week.
PC Constable? Or Cunliffe?
No, it's not him. It's Stogden, who then went on to become... Yeah, Stoggers came up and terrified me. I had nightmares for a week. It wasn't right. So basically,
Yeah, but he was a weirdo. Me and Sam grew up in the same village. He was a proper, like, because he played cricket and you weren't allowed to eat the cricket dinners. And I once ate the cricket dinner. And, like, I was about 11 as well. And he went, look, what are you doing here? You're not a member of the club. And I think I might have said, oh, get lost. I'll eat sandwiches if I want to. You're not the boss of me, stuff like that. But we got caught by the other. We grew up in a little village where nothing happened. It was properly dreary. And the village policeman, this is how crap it was. I think it was Cunliffe or Constable, PC, whatever.
Cunnington,
that's the one. I totally missed.
Constables,
but he wasn't allowed, right? He wasn't allowed a real motorbike. He just had, like, a police motorbike. He had a motorbike that he'd put, like, police bits onto it. And he caught us. We broke into Ropley swimming pool. Me, Craig Scriven, Simon Hutley, and Neil and James Archer, and a girl that we didn't even know. But all of us tried separately to kiss her. Not at the same time, like at separate occasions. We all invited, and there were a couple of other girls there. And we were swimming, and he came in and caught us. And it was like a really dangerous moment. You could all go to prison for this, and yeah, whatever. You're not going to put us in prison for that. And then Simon Hutley shouted, come on, lads, let's go do some underage drinking. And we kind of rode away on our bikes going, it was so dangerous. It was horrible. So that's where you go
I'd
back
have to go back and right that wrong. I'd have to go back dressed as a prisoner and go, don't worry, kid, don't matter. You'll be fine. Or go back dressed as a police officer and actually arrest him. It'd be fantastic.
But where were you pulling a pint?
It was a local village pavilion. You know, they have the little oh, you probably don't. But
when you were behind the bar just pulling a pint?
yeah, they said, just go pour it, it'll be fine. My mate wants a drink. And I thought, fantastic.
That's probably scary, isn't it? It was just some old man going, my mate wants a drink. Now, the doctor
You're
says...
little, why don't you go and do it yourself?
Yeah, the doctor says he ain't allowed one, but you've got small hands, haven't you? You can just reach around and pull it for him. Right, where would you travel back, John?
To the time of... Now, this word was in the paper, and I swore I was going to find out.
Oh, we were supposed to have a jingle for this, weren't we?
Yeah.
That went, time travel. It's all right, doesn't matter.
It's a bit late now.
Yeah, it is. That was totally my fault. You may have noticed, it's not the slickest show in town. Go on, John.
See, I think it's
I'll do the sound effect. No. Go on,
it's
sorry.
ESSENES. I read about them this week. They were the first people who tried to get hygiene going. And they sort of lived in these conurbations, and they were the first people who used to travel outside the city and do poos and bury them underground. And everyone else just used to poo on the floor.
Really?
And they used to walk to a set area outside of where they lived. And
was there
poo underground?
Was there like a poo bus?
I don't think there was a poo bus. It was before buses, to be honest. I think buses were invented after toilets.
Oh, okay.
This was before toilets. So get buses out here. They weren't wearing Nike. They weren't wearing anything. They were just going to the toilet dressed in probably a towel.
Maybe I'll travel back with you and take a bus. And then I can take them all on the poo bus.
Maybe. Well, the poo ends tragically because although it was a lovely idea and they had the right intent... this links into an idea I have that we're going to kill ourselves with hygiene, right?
Nice.
Because what happened, because they pooed underground, the sun couldn't bake the poo and kill all the bacteria in it.
So the poo's
poo's underground... Bacteria spread because it was warm and it was dank, and they died. They all died.
Are you enjoying your breakfast at home? Carry on.
They all died of poo.
Oh, no.
And this links to an idea
It'd be a funny funeral, though, wouldn't it?
Although they were the nice people and they were clearly gifted, they were very artistic, you know, and they were trying to forward humanity. Yeah. I think that's you know, a lesson for us all there. I have a theory called vibration white gum. Right?
Do go on.
Based on the vibration white finger stories of the mid-90s. Did you hear about these? People who used to work with pneumatic drills all the time.
That's
when
a drill.
They retired. Yeah. Thanks very much. Mark Owen, come and see me. When they retired, their hands just started vibrating and their fingers all went white because of years of vibrations, and they got big compensation payouts because no one knew that using that for years, your hands would just... and they couldn't stop it doing it. And now I have a theory that we've invented the electric toothbrush, and we haven't used it long enough, and one day, say 20 years down the line, the vibrations from the toothbrush, our gums will go white and vibrate, and all our teeth will drop out, and they'll talk about what killed off humans, and it'll be the fact that we tried to clean our teeth.
Just a shame.
Pretty sombre note.
Just Shane McGowan left. Why does it turn your fingers white? If Abby, who was emailed earlier, she never better lick the fingers of a man who... or maybe rappers in a past life were drillers. Although, to be honest, she probably wouldn't drill in a past life.
I don't know why they went white. Maybe it's to do with blood constriction, I would have thought.
Yeah. Well, that's awful. If there's anyone listening who used to be a driller who's now got shaky white hands...
probably best not to text in.
Probably best not to text in, yeah. Well, and put it on predictive, if anything. And, you know, good luck on turning the radio on. Must be tricky.
Back away.
Now,
where are you going, Russell?
Nowhere.
About 5 minutes ago, before you said that.
Very good if you get the Orangina drinks. So, where would you go?
Swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Swings around. I mean, you know, I can't do basic rudimentary things, but I tell you what, when I have a Tropicana, I'll get rid of all the messy stuff. Now, I've got 2 places I go to, right? Now, if I could drive back in time, I'd go to a especially exciting moment when you feel glad to be alive. You know, like just before you've read Northern Lights by Philip Pullman, you know, just before you read the final bit of that. But specifically, I'm going to take the comedian Stuart Lee back to a moment during Daniel Kitson's Edinburgh show, and he started crying during the show, and I kind of turned around, you know, why are you crying? And he said that he was so sad that he'd never see him, Daniel, for the first time again, so he'd take Stuart back to that moment. How lovely is that? So if you could take somebody back, you know that when you hear a song that just blows your mind for the first time, and it's that moment, I take as many people back to their specific. I take them in the poo bus. I'll drop them off to their moment, then I'll nip back to your land. Because the other one I've got, it's just because that was a more kind of serious one. I'm going to travel to the future. I'm going to grab a talking monkey, then pop back to the time Jesus was on Earth. Wait, let me get to it. So I'm going to travel to the future, grab a talking monkey, then pop back to the time Jesus was on Earth. And like I'm going to wear leathers and have a talking monkey just to sex up the Bible. So like Jesus is going to be like, hey, I'm feeding the 5,000, and I'll be in the background singing a song I wrote called Mr. Wendell with my talking monkey Sydney. Discuss.
Do you believe in evolution?
Yeah.
So what makes you think in the future there will be talking monkeys?
Well,
surely we have surpassed talking monkeys. If you want a talking monkey, go back.
No. I won't. It's fine to have. No, I think I'm pretty certain I'll be a scientist called Otto or something that'll have made a talking monkey.
Okie dokie.
But it would make the Bible a lot more exciting, wouldn't it? Just if there's like some punk walking around in leathers with a talking monkey. No?
I don't think that would make the final edit, to be honest.
Yeah, it would. I'd sex it up.
I think that would detract from the message of the Bible, to be honest.
You know, be nice to each other and, you know, look after your monkey.
Said the monkey.
Well, that was us on Time Travel. Now, you can, of course, you can email us in on russell.6music@bbc.co.uk, or you can text us 64046, any place you'd like to go and why. Me listen to Russell Howard and 6 Music with my friends John.
Morning.
And my friend Sam.
Hiya.
Now, we've just had an email in concerning John's fears of vibration from Andy, a noise and vibration consultant in Hampstead.
Hi, Andy. Good to hear from you.
He says, John, as far as I understand it, you don't start vibrating spontaneously. You just get bloodless, desensitised fingers. The problem arises from being subjected to vibration all day, every day for many years. You should only spend 4 minutes per day brushing your teeth, John. The vibration dose you receive is far smaller. I don't think you need to worry, John. Andy.
Thanks, Andy. Brush your teeth twice a day, surely you're looking at 8-9 minutes there.
He says, P.S. You brush your teeth twice a day, you're looking at 8 or 9 minutes, yeah.
And I use a pneumatic drill, that's right, yeah.
Nice. So, we've had some time travel emails. What have you got, John?
I've got one from Tom who says, a funny one. Yep. Assuming I could come back, I'd go to the Upper Paleolithic to see the first stirrings of humanity and to see what effect cave paintings had on those who painted them. If I couldn't, the 70s.
Nice, that's a mix. I've got one here. I would take a hippo back with me. This is from Genevieve. I'd take a hippo back with me to the time when dinosaurs were alive, set up said hippo and a lucky dino on a blind dino date, let nature take its course, they probably eat each other then, and hope the hippos and dinosaurs evolve into hipposauruses. Plan being, I wouldn't look so stupid in what's your favourite dinosaur debates when people point out that my favourite dinosaur is in fact fictional. Well, I don't think I've ever had a what's your favourite dinosaur debate. I don't go to those kind of... I've never been to a dinner party, but...
Go on then, I'll ask you now, what's your favourite dinosaur?
T-Rex.
Is that the only one you've heard of?
Yep. No, I like Stegosauruses and Diplodocus.
Damn it, you called mine.
Yeah. The only reason I like the T-Rex, he's so angry because he's got tiny hands.
I think that's probably it.
I think that's the major reason. Like, if he's got an itch in his belly, he can't quite reach it. That's what he goes... Like, if you listen, if there's DVD footage, he's probably going, oh, God, I've got an itch. Oh, I'm going to eat something.
If there's DVD footage.
Yeah.
There's an outside chance.
Yeah, there's bound to be.
Just two of them mucking about.
No. Well, if I'll travel to the future, I'll find a talking dinosaur. God, I've got a lot to do this week. Got to find a monkey and a... And we've had lots of emails in, some of them nice, some of them quite nasty, let's be honest. A few people wanting to hear from Russell Brand, but he's available on radio too, so you can listen to him.
Look after him, for God's sake.
Yeah, he did say a really nice, he sent me a really lovely text the other day saying that he enjoyed the show, which is quite cool. But we've had loads of really nice emails. We've got one from William J.B. Jones. Now, if you're listening, William, you know I can't read this out, you absolute filthmonger. He said he wants to travel back and do stuff to various people with his and then do that again, and then, know what I mean? So that's the most I could possibly read out, William, but well done for trying. Right, have we got some more time travels?
Yeah.
What you got, Sammy?
If I could go back into time, I'd go back and tell my mum when she was a lot younger to have me like 8 years earlier, so all the guys that I like are too old for me, wouldn't be anymore. I see, so she's basically pimping her mum in an indirect way.
No? That's exactly what you saw. Well done.
I'll be honest, I was
Shame on
reading
Vicky
an
from
email,
Barnsley.
and I missed that, and all I caught was that last sentence. Which is a nice point to go into.
What have you got, time travel?
I've got one from Pete. All right, Pete, how's it going?
God, listen to the anger in your voice. He's obviously made a grammatical error and you're about to rip him.
Fine. Pete's done very well, actually. Pete's grammatically sound. Well done, Pete.
Jesus.
And he sounds like he's very erudite because he begins his thing. Perhaps it would be possible for me to go back. And that's a lovely way.
Has he written it in italics?
No, he hasn't.
Okay.
Perhaps it would be possible for me to go back to the age of 15, tell myself not to lose my virginity to the song I Want to Be Elected by Mr. Bean featuring Bruce Dickinson, a subject of consistent humiliation for the years that followed.
Wow. What was
I'm sure that's possible, Pete. I'll have a word and I'll get that done.
I lost my virginity to, there were no songs, there were people driving over the Severn Bridge, going, oh, go on, mate, go on. Which, so every time I'm in a traffic jam, I get a hard-on. Now, the reason we're playing that is because on Thursday, the 30th of November, Six Music is celebrating the 25th anniversary of the emergence of synth-based music into the mainstream as we go back to the future. Basically, in the run-up to the day, we're searching to find the ultimate synth riff. Like, John?
I'd need some time to research. You can't spin that on me.
I got you.
Spin last dates and when I lost my virginity on me, but not best synth.
But during that song, you were really into that, weren't
That
you?
is a belter. That is a stone wall. Get out of the way, shut up, sit down, listen to this.
Imagine that. That'd be great. Imagine if you just did that as a DJ. Shut up, right, sit down, lie on the floor, concrete, listen. Yeah, I like it, don't you? If you don't, get... yeah, we're going to find the ultimate synth riff. We've all heard talk about guitar riffs, but let's face it, there's a whole stack of memorable synth riffs too, and it's about time they got the attention they deserve. Now, if you're really into this, you can go to Six Music website, tell us your favourite synth riff, go to the events page, and from there follow the link to the Back to the Future page and cast your vote. Then listen out for the top 10 countdown in a special show at 7 o'clock on the day itself that's going to be hosted by Jon Richardson. Right, here we go, synth time, shut up and listen.
My classification of a good song is if it comes on in the car and I'm driving, do I feel like a spy in the 80s?
Yeah. Well, do you find this when you're driving? Do you find yourself, when it gets to a crescendo of a song, do you lean back into your seat, just put your foot down a bit more?
I don't speed.
You did the other day.
Whoa!
85 when you're in my car.
Yeah.
Oh, now we're going to do the Six Music Bank. Actually, no, before we do that, I'm going to read out just the last couple of time travels. This is from... it's from Oxford. Oh no, Simon in Oxford. I was going to say Oxford in general. Shall we text this show? Let's do it. Oh, what a wonderful morning. Pate for breakfast. I go back to GCSE German lessons and get more detentions. Missed by stockings and skirt combinations made the lessons very good. I probably should have read that before. Simon's coming across as a real perv there. Stockings and skirt combination, German teacher.
It's a ridiculous thing as well, is what he's thinking is if I went back now I could get her. I could get her as when I was 16. If I just knew a bit more, I could get my
German was terrifying. I did German. It was and it was always the same. We'd stand up at the beginning of the class and it'd be left with me, Tom Green and Stephen Barnes and just Russell, ja, hast du ein Geschwister? Nein, ich bin ein Einzelkind. Why do you always ask? Because I always should say I was an only child, and then she went, I've just taught your sister. Nein! But I'd just stand up. The other one, I'd go back to February and I wouldn't jump in a deep pond to retrieve a football thinking a bunch of reeds would hold my weight. That's from Fraser.
That sounds tragic.
It does a bit, yeah. That's from Fraser. I hope it's not from Fraser's mum. Well, that's really awkward. Now it's time for the Six Music. But Fraser, please text us back and tell us you're all right. Now, we've got a news story coming up from John, his pick of the week. But in about sort of 5-10 minutes, we're going to have our hero of the week. Now, last week, if you listened, it was really cool. It was a lady called Lindsay Cooper, who was voted the female player of the tournament in the Homeless World Cup. This week we've got an entirely different hero. I'm very excited to meet her. She's very good at lying. Now, John, what's your story of the week?
I'm giving this story this subtitle, The Great Sterilisation Debate.
Okie dokie. Strap in, ladies and gentlemen, sounds like...
It was in most of the papers this week about what parents are calling their children.
Oh, I saw
parents
that, yeah.
have always been influenced by popular culture, blah, blah, blah. There's thousands of Kylies now from the 80s, that's fine.
Yep.
The latest survey said that Britain now has 36 arsenals, boys and girls, 3 Snoops, 48 Didos, 426 Dreys, and get this, 6 Gandalfs.
Yeah. See, it's awkward though. Gandalf at school is going to be tricky, isn't it? You know, because if you're playing like Stuck in the Mud, you know, you've got to go under the legs. You shall not pass. And also, it must be if he learns how to do the finger trick, you know, when you pull the thumb away, you know, he'll be doing that. Do your trick, Gandalf. Don't make me do it. Do not do your trick. Don't take me as a conjurer of cheap tricks. Gandalf as a kid, it's just wrong, isn't it? But
it's very wrong, and I can't believe no one ever... I'd like to think maybe there were 15 families that wanted Gandalf, and 9 of them got told, I'm sorry, I can't let you do that.
Absolutely.
This is a human being. And 6 of them were allowed, which is pathetic. I think if ever you say, I want to call my child Gandalf, that child should be taken from you, and you should be sent away to think about what you've done.
Where would you go?
An island.
No, it's just like, what are you going to call your boy? Rubik's Cube, really? Yeah. Well, as a nickname, it's fine. Calling him Little Gandalf, that's fine. But you can't. It's just you're just going to get bullied, aren't you? It's just there was one kid that was called Mumra that I read. That's not nice, is it? But it's always like there's such transient names, aren't they? Like Dre. Like some kids have called their kids David Beckham. Actually, fully called them David Beckham. There was a James Blunt. You know, it's never like Albert or Isambard or anyone who actually done anything of worth. There were about 5 Gazzers, which is nice. Named after an alcoholic wife beater, that's nice. You know, and like Reebok, there was one called Reebok, Adidas. Yeah. It's just horrible.
Are you implying you'd call your child Isambard after the great bridge builder?
Yes.
Are you?
No.
Or would you call it Snap, Crackle and Pop?
I am, yeah, exactly. No, I've toyed with the idea of Higgledy Piggledy. I think that'd be a good name. But I'd call him that as a nickname. Little Hig. All right, Hig, how you doing? How's your brother Padlock? Stuff like that. But I'd call them proper names. Luke and Lewis, I think. I quite like those. Luke, that's a name I wanted as a kid, so you can be Skywalker. You know. How about you, Sam? What name would you like?
Thomas. So he can be Thomas. He would take such a beating off the back of that, wouldn't he? No,
it's horrible, though. But it just makes it's
very popular these days, Tom.
Yeah, nice. It's so depressing, though, isn't it? The people who, who give their kids these kind of names, they never think of the bullying that they're going to get. But it's just that thing of it's like having a dog, really. You're not treating it with any respect. It's just calling it that. There was a kid. That was the most unfortunate. There was a bloke who I knew wasn't the smartest bloke in the world. He was nice, but he was a few trees short of the forest, and. He was called Andrew Monger, right? And we worked at Tesco together, and sure enough, can A. Monger come to the front desk, please? A. Monger. And you think, you must know that. You've got to think that through. How can you possibly call your kid A. Monger?
There's a kid at college where I used to go called Goliath.
Oh, yeah, really?
Sure as hell, was short as hell, with big, fat glasses. There's no way in hell he was...
Oh dear. Well, there you go. Text us in if you've given your kid a horrific name, and we'll set John on you. That'd be fun.
Yeah, don't do that. Text in if you've been given a horrific name, because I'll go mental.
Oh, well, that'd be fun, though. Come on, if you want to bring it. Text us on 64046 or email russell.6music@bbc.co.uk. Come on, there must be a few Liddles or Matalans out there. Text us in. This is the part of the show called Hero of the Week. Last week, as I said, it was Lindsay Cooper who was voted the player of the tournament at the Homeless World Cup. Now, this week's hero is Sue Perkins. Hello, Sue.
Hello there.
Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm grand. How's your tricks?
How are my tricks? Not bad. I can do the thumb trick. That's about it. John's got
the one where you pretend half of your thumb is being ripped off.
Exactly, yeah.
Love it.
I'm not very good at it. I just move my thumb over there. I do it in front of, just kids. That's about it. I'd like to learn it, but I've never been bothered. Now, Sam, I should introduce you to my two friends, Sam and John.
Hello, Sue.
Hello.
Basically, you're our hero of the week. Do you want to tell everyone listening why that is? Or should I? It'd be probably better if I did.
All right.
You're our hero of the week because you are apparently the international liar champion of the world. Is that correct?
It is, yeah. I took the crown from the in-house Cumbrian champion in the week, and it takes place in Wasdale in Cumbria, which is in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Yeah. And, I stood up and told a lie, and they voted me biggest liar in the world.
What was the lie?
The lie has been quite local based, so I did a lie about a very specific type of Cumbrian sheep called a Herdwick sheep, and made it responsible pretty much for every single global environmental catastrophe that the world has ever historically seen. That's a long lie, but I sort of I proved it quite conclusively.
Fantastic. And no, because we spoke about this the other day, didn't we? And it's I don't know if you two know this here, but this championship's been going on for years now, hasn't it? It's kind of descends way back when, and apparently because I heard the lie from last year's winner. And I'll be honest, you know, no wonder he won. I thought he was poor, wasn't he? He was just dreadful. He could barely talk.
Yeah.
Because the winner, you can list it on the website. He goes, right, as you may have heard, I haven't actually come up with a new light this year. It's more an extension of what happened last, and they still go it to him. So Sue obviously rocked up and nailed it. Now, the thing that we're a little bit worried about is you could be lying now.
It's possible.
That's the thing. You may not even
the matrix of untruth.
Exactly. You may not even have done it. Now, the biggest question I had: what's the biggest lie you've ever told aside from that?
Biggest lie I've ever told. Well, it's ongoing, really. I think. Biggest lie I've ever told. God, I'm on the spot. I don't know. I don't really tell big lies. I tell chains of little ones. Yeah. I'm more a white lie / mini falsehood person than a sort of gargantuan one like, hello, I'm the Crown Prince of Samoa. I've never done a big one like that.
That would be good. That'd be fantastic to see
really
you
unconvincing, though.
in Heat magazine. Spotted, claiming she's the king of Samoa. There was a kid at our school, the best liar I've met, called Dave. I won't say his surname, but he was like a proper back-to-the-wall liar. And he once told one of our mums that he could put new 50p's into old 10p's into a fruit machine, and new 50p's would come out. But he was, and he also once claimed. Do you remember this, Sam? He once claimed that he went to London for 2 weeks
to sort his head out.
Yeah, and claimed that it was amazing. He left German, like, I'm going to sort my head out. And he said that he'd been to every major tourist attraction in London, despite the fact that he was seen 3 times in our village, once urinating off his garage.
Seagulls!
Yeah, we can hear seagulls. How cool is that? Cracking. But that could be Perkins lying. Do you know what I mean? Nobody can really believe it. Maybe she's put the sound effect of seagulls. You're in Brighton, aren't you, mate?
I am in Brighton, yeah. It's a really beautiful day today, actually. I'm on my lunch break. It's marvellous.
It's probably
I have to say, there was one person in Gail, I won't say her second name, but she tried to convince people that her mum was Tony Arthur, and we believed her for about 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. But it's always worrying about the kids that do that at school, because they're normally, massively troubled.
Yeah, traumatised by their real parents.
Yeah, exactly. But, John, have you got any questions for Sue?
No.
Okay, that was John.
I suddenly realised I believe this is all a tissue of lice, and I don't believe any of it.
Really?
Did you get a trophy or anything, Sue?
I did, a massive trophy. Literally, it was twice the size of my own head and anyone else's head who cares to put their head next to a trophy. Because see, it's huge, right? And I got it, and I could barely lift it, and there was cries of fix from the main league.
Oh dear.
That's unsafe.
Did you flip him the bird?
I tried to be gracious because they're quite big lads in sort of rugby strip, and I was a bit frightened. But basically what I was doing is I was doing a documentary for Radio 4 about the idea of the Lying Festival, which has been going on for about 100 years. It's basically like conning sort of posh people who came from sort of London, conning them into believing local myths is how it started. So the idea was I would go and I would try and con them. So I never expected to win, and people were saying, she's like too professional, she shouldn't be doing it. and then fix, cry of fix and all this, but there was great trauma and trouble last year because the South African won, and apparently they all burst into a chorus of Rule Britannia, which is a great slur, really. Yeah,
lovely. Great people up there, great people, welcoming.
They were really lovely. It's just that they would prefer it, I think, if a Cumbrian had one. And so I didn't take the trophy because I thought they might murder me in the eyes. So I left it there.
You left it? Oh, that's so wrong.
But I couldn't drag it. I literally couldn't pick up. It was absolutely enormous.
They probably put some really short fella in there, so, right, if she wins it, little Ernie, get in there so she can't drag it away back to bloody London, where she comes from.
They're all from Bristol in your head.
Well, I don't know where they're from.
They're mainly West Country Cumbrians up there.
What's the Cumbria accent?
I'm proud to be from here, and that's where I live.
No, they're like Northern, aren't they? But they're all speaking dialect, so it's kind of quite... what they tend to say is Asganyam, which means I'm going home, and that's how they end the story. So Asganyam. When you say it, like me, when I stand up there and say it, it doesn't go down so well. Go down so well.
You people are so quaint.
That's fantastic. I like the idea. But they seem like they've been genuinely affected by it. It's really. I like the idea that one of them come to sleep, Terry. I can't bloody sleep. I'm the best liar in the world. She told it. Devil woman, bloody London ways. Are you going to go back and win it next year?
Well, this is the thing now. Having done it as part of like doing a sort of documentary, now I have to go back to actually, defend the title.
Let's go.
I will, possibly be murdered in my sleep there. I don't know.
Absolutely not, right? Next year, I say you go back in a big gold limo, like really live it up.
Platinum Lexus.
In fact, we'll totally be up for it if we're still doing the show, and hopefully we will be. We can go with you as your like little kind of helpers.
I tell you what, if you want a laugh and experience something truly eccentric and utterly magical, you do a lot worse than to go. I thought, in all seriousness, I did think they were really cracking people, and I had a real laugh. But it's that sort of quintessential English madness, these little festivals that are brilliant.
They're great, aren't they? They're all over England, because when we grew up, there was a thing called the Ropley Pram Race, which is difficult to describe to anyone outside, but once a year, all the villagers would get in prams and ride around and drink beer, and then whoever won the race was the pram race winner. And, you know, it sounds like a few people would turn... John's coughing, he's disgusted by the idea, but hundreds of people would turn up. That sounds fantastic. Well, Sue, you're this week's Hero of the Week. That's genuinely brilliant. The best liar in the world, ladies and gentlemen, I give you Sue Perkins, the Hero of the Week.
Sue. Six Music.
We've had a few talking about weird kid names. Somebody's texted in saying, go to Totnes in Devon, home of the stupid kid's name. Brave and Furious being just two of them. That's from Calypso Phipps. To be honest, she can't go around mocking people's names in that she's called Calypso Phipps. That sounds a bit like a drink that you'd struggle with. My mate called his kid Lemony Sunshine. Nice. Hi Russell, the laziness of parents never ceases to amaze. I know 3 people called William Williams. Eddie from Kidderminster. That says a lot about you though, Eddie, to be honest, that you gravitate towards those people. We've got here, I'd like to call my kid Bilbo. That's Mark in Bristol, naked in John's room. That's our flatmate, who apparently is naked in John's room. How are you feeling about that?
Do you know what I mean? If you're going to text in, Mark, we'll get on fine. Because that whole thing is about my dead dog, which is called Bilbo.
Oh, it is.
Sunday morning, isn't it? Just chill out, back off.
I forgot about that.
If you're watching my Labyrinth video, there's going to be trouble. You better rewind it. And don't touch my drinks cabinet. Just get out of my room.
Yeah, get out of his room with your naked body.
I haven't been in my room for the last 3 weeks. What's he doing in
there? Oh, there's lots to do in there, I imagine. I went to school with twins called Thor and Odin. They were very ungodlike, if the truth be known. That's from Bob in Bristol. And we've had a request from Sam. After the tragic loss of Vincent Price, the vacuum he left can now be filled in voiceovers by Sam. I've already emailed Michael Jackson, and he says he's interested to have him on his next album. Or is he just interested in having him next? I don't know. Sam, are you up for that?
I'd be up for either option.
Would you go with the King of Pop?
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm his type.
How lovely is that? Sam's mum and dad are listening, so you know what to get Sam for Christmas. Tickets to Neverland. Now, what's coming up next? We are going to be doing overheard conversations. You know when you just, like, maybe you're on the tube or on your train and you hear fantastical things. This week I heard, that reminds me, you haven't cut my toenails, and the communists are here and they're destroying our Anglo-Saxon heritage. Both of those were on the train. Now, this is the part of the show I'm going to give over totally to John. It's time for...
It's 100% belter time. My name is Jon Richardson. Oh, you know it. I like these tunes. These tunes make me swoon.
Guys, what are you doing?
Get out. So, John, what's your belter this week?
This week's 100% belter is the National Express by Divine Comedy.
Why is that, my friend?
It's probably the happiest song that's ever been made.
It's great, isn't it?
I was in a traffic jam at the bottom of the M6. I was ready to kill. This came on, and then I was bouncing around in a little yellow mini metro. I hope wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whether you're ill or you're happy, I hope it makes you happier for 3.5 minutes.
Should we stand up and jig about while we're listening to it?
We can have a bit of a bit.
Yeah. God, stand up, both of you now. Here we go. Now, we've got some really great overheard conversations sent in. I've got one here that says, this is one I overheard at the zoo. Mrs. Morgan, Max said I was a wee head. And Mrs. Morgan said, and what did you say? I said, that isn't very nice. You did the right thing. Yes, I did. Which I enjoyed. I heard this on a tube. No, in a straight fight, Winston Churchill would kick Hitler's arse, which is quite nice. Oh, this is one I overheard. Nobody cooks an English breakfast like you, Maud. I heard that in Devon. That was quite nice. Like the only way they can now compliment each other as a really lovely old couple was through the food they cooked each other. It was really lovely. What have you got, John?
I've got one from Thea in Canterbury. It says, I was standing by a tent at the Green Man Festival and I overheard a guy telling his mate, I went to a disco once. I shat myself.
Nice. Can we get them to text in to find out why? That'd be fantastic. Sammy, what have you got?
I overheard one in a changing room with my girlfriend. It was, if they don't let us in, they don't let us in. As long as the beer's wet, that's all that matters. Which was then followed by, well, fold me up and post me to Scotland. Which was then followed by, sounds like you got a 60-year-old woman in your cubicle. And the guy actually replied, I wish.
Nice. I had a really great one. This is quite a long one. This is one that I heard, if I can find it. Yeah, stockbroking's changed. We used to play a game called Cocky Pocket. The traders would be working, you pop your chap in their pocket, they put their hand in to get a form, they touch you, and you shout, cocky pocket. Of course, and this was the amazing thing, he then looked at his mate and went, of course those days are gone. Like that, he was really reminiscing eyes. I mean, it used to be a time, it's all political correctness now, isn't it? It used to be a time when you could harmlessly tap your mate's hand with your chap. Can't do that. Thanks very much, Tony Blair. You supposed to slap a woman's arse. Gone. Get blown at the desk by secretary. All gone. The world has changed. This is quite a cool one. This is from Sanacking at Google Mail. Late afternoon sometime this summer. Well, that was quite a nice beginning to it. Late afternoon, sometime this summer. There was a girl at a bus stop in Stoke Newington wearing a coral-coloured sequin cocktail dress, fancy pants matching high heels, and wafting herself with a fan. Oh, and she had a bob haircut with a strange asymmetrical undercut thingy going on at the back. And she turned to her friend and said, "Where do you think the line is between being really stylish and fashion victim?" Nice. There's one. Have you got any more, boys?
I got one from Catherine in Southampton. Last week, my husband and I were walking across a park in Southampton, and on passing a bunch of teenagers, overheard two girls discussing the existence of God. They were drunk. One said, "There is definitely a God, I know it," and the other one slurred back, "Well, for you know, I could be God just sitting here with you drinking Stella." To which the other replied in very slurred words, "Well, you can't be God because you're an angel."
Oh, that's a proper shout, like.
Oh,
Imagine that, you can't be God because you're an angel.
Alcoholics come out with the best ones. I got one I was in Buxton this week, and I was just in a pub reading the papers.
Yeah.
And this guy was sat at the bar, and he'd been chatting to everyone who'd come in, and it got to a point where everyone had gone, and he was just on his own.
Yep.
And he just went, "Hey, good times, eh? Good times. They'd like to take them away from you, but they can't. Good times."
On a similar vein, there's a bloke here who says, "I overheard the local hobo on a bus." Well, I don't know where he lives, in New York. I overheard the local hobo on a bus saying, "Well, the judge called it bigamy, but I still say if it's a different country with a different flag, it don't count." Which is amazing. There's obviously a really, really cool backstory there. It reminds me of that Tony Farina, bigamy at Christmas. One of the more underrated of Alan Partridge's, not Steve Coogan's creations. Actually fantastic.
Says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does a bit. I really like that, but it's really great. He does songs with Gary Wilmot. Have we got any more?
I've got a quick. This is cheating slightly because it's not a conversation, but it was a sign I saw on my way from Buxton.
That's fine.
There's a sign on the A6 that says, "Eggs, simply the best, last before M1."
Excellent.
Oh, that was very good.
Sam's had a lot of offers from voiceover work coming in, so and he's currently free during the day, so you're up for that, aren't you, mate?
Yeah.
Now, we've had a few more overheard conversations coming in. Here's one. "Hey all, I was walking through the high street of my hometown as I walked past two women. The snippet of conversation I heard was one turning to the other and saying, 'And we both had two sausages, and they both tasted exactly like sage and onion stuffing,'" which is quite nice. But what's weird about this, isn't this right? The sentence itself was one that I hadn't heard before, and I doubt I will, but it was more the fact that the woman's anecdote was so bizarre and dull, I wanted to turn to the lady listening, shake her violently by the shoulders, and say, "Don't be friends with this woman, she's not right. She will have killed before, she will kill again." Wow, how angry is Mike in Walthamstow? Would you do that? Would you shake a lady simply for eating sausages? If you're a vegetarian, maybe.
It's one of those things, though, isn't it, that if you take that sentence in isolation, but I've said stuff far duller than that. I've asked, this week especially, I find myself asking questions and thinking, I can't believe I really care about that. I've had conversations, don't I? I talk about food a lot. I'm quite happy to talk about food. I've probably said something fascinatingly dull about a sausage many times.
Well, I'll tell you what you've said this week. We had a bit of a text conversation. I got this text from John on Tuesday.
I know you saved them.
Yeah, I saved them. It opens. It's John. I go, "Oh, great, my little friend." No, I didn't say like that.
The last text you ever get.
It says, "Hey, it's John, my great buddy." Yes. I open it and it says this, Sam. Listen to this. He goes, "You," and I was reading him out in his voice, "You are a smelly prick." That's nice, isn't it? Oh, brilliant. What is it?
Opening.
Yeah, that's nice. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. What have I done? "You are a smelly prick. Before I met you, I would never have noticed there was no Starbucks in Buxton. Had I noticed, I'd have been glad. Now I'm livid. You smelly prick." Twice. So I sent him back a message, kind of going, "Hey, come on, embrace the new you, it's fine." To which he sends me back, "In the absence of chai tea, I have turned back to an old friend. You don't know me. You don't know me."
Didn't put that, did I? I put bottom sop, which is an incredible joke. You texted back, "Embrace the new you. You'll be popping suppositories before long."
Oh, there's no need for that.
You've had suppositories, and you got me into Starbucks, so you were saying. I texted back, I've turned to alcohol because there's no tea.
Yeah.
Bottom, sup. Bottom, suppository. Bottoms up, cheers, drink. I am gifted. But nobody notices. I'm just too busy going, it's my little mate.
Oh, don't get like that.
There's gold in there. Absolute gold.
Of course there's gold. Oh, do you want a cuddle?
I need several. Do you know, I went in a pub yesterday in Loughborough. I haven't been drinking all week, by the way. I'll point out I drive to gigs, right?
Yeah.
And the barmaid called me sweetheart, and I nearly molested her. That was the anyone has said she didn't know she was playing with fire. I asked her a pint of John Smith, said, there you go, sweetheart, and I would have married her there and then.
Wow, that's great.
Desperate.
That's not desperate.
We've had some texts in.
Read them out.
Move on?
Yeah, look at your eyes. Sam, go over there and kiss him now.
Yeah, I think
no,
so.
you've got a beard, I've got a beard, we'll get stuck.
Yeah, hey, I haven't got a beard, I'm coming round.
don't, please.
Just read them out, read them round.
No, because I'll do stuff, and just get this out of the way.
Read it out, come on. Read it out whilst I'm handling you. Here we go.
Steve.
For the people at home, I'm touching him, come on.
You're feeling my pecs up as well.
Yeah, it's nice.
What do you reckon? I haven't worked out for ages, I've just stopped eating. Will you just stop now? I can't read. This is bad radio, this is bad radio. Our local garage had a sign outside which just said... It's your show, do you know what I mean? If it was called the Jon Richardson Show, that bad radio would bother me, but it
doesn't matter, just you needed a cuddle and a tickle.
That wasn't a cuddle, though, was it? That hurt. But it was nice, thanks.
Don't worry about it, sweetheart.
Got a text in from Steve. Steve says, our local garage had a sign outside which just said, Morning Sticks. I always wondered who Sticks was and why he got this daily greeting in signage.
I've got one here that says, man number one, alright mate, how's your week been? How's your wake been? A totally different one. That was a bit rubbish. Alright mate, how's your week been? Man number two, well, as you know, I should be in Spain now, but I fell in love, and now I'm moving to Australia instead. You don't need to hear that if you...
Yeah, thanks for that one. It was a perfect one.
Sorry.
He probably just went into a cake shop and said, can I have a gato? And she went, of course you can, mate. And then he married her.
I've got one here that says, I heard some lady... in a shop saying, have you listened to that Six Music show? There's a northern guy on it, and I love him. I think he's great.
There's nothing on that piece of paper.
Don't know how to get hold of him. There's another one here that says, hey...
That's the same piece of paper.
That Jon Richardson, he sounds great. I bet he's got a massive wang. There's another one here. Jon Richardson, my God, funny, attractive, very tidy too. Wow, there's another one here that says, make Jon the ruler of the universe. He's wonderful.
Now that one...
I love Jon. See, loads. But lots of people think that you're Comedy Day from Radio 1, or Mark Owen.
Yeah, great.
But all of them want to cuddle you, it's going to be fine. Let's have a section of the show called Find Jon a Girlfriend. If there's anyone out there, not just anyone, but a really nice girl, I'll describe Jon. He's easy maintenance, he's lovely, very good cook, very attractive, very funny, lovely teeth. My mum, if this helps, calls him Curly. So if that sounds your kind of thing...
If you're a girl out there described generally as 8 out of 10 or above, I think we'll...
Well, Sam just pops in there with a bit of misogyny.
8.5.
If you're an 8.5, how horrible. No, it's fine. We'll go from 4. It's fine. We'll work our way up. Come on, mate.
What's next?
Nothing's next. It's the news. We've got some messages that have been sent in. I'll give him a hug, although I'm obsessive-compulsive as well, so it'll be a manic combination. That's from Abby. Dear Russell, Jon could never be mistaken for Comedy Day from Radio 1 because the discerning listener will actually spot that Jon is funny. He's raised several laughs over the course of the last hour, and I'm confident there's more to come. Unfortunately, I'm not a lady or a relaxed gentleman, or maybe it would have gone somewhere. That's from Stuart in Glasgow.
Cheers, though, Stu.
Which is nice. Here's another one. There's loads that have come in. Somebody's texted me saying that I'd give Jon...
This looks like I love him now, doesn't it? Because it looks like we've gone in a song and I've gone, listen, Russell, I'm a bit down this week. Can you get me some emails?
Yeah, but that's what I'm here for. You're a wonderful man.
That's not what it's here
look
for,
into my eyes. You're a wonderful guy. And I want people to realise that. Now, here's a lovely one. If ever... This is a full-on offer. If ever Jon's... I've just realised I am now your pimp. Just getting really exciting. I'm living vicariously, right? If ever Jon's in the Middlesbrough, Whitby area, you're welcome to join me for a drink and some hard...
You're an alcoholic.
Listen. For a drink and some hardcore coin organising.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Sweetheart. Oh, there you go. We broke him. Did you see that? Was genuine happiness on his face. Yeah. Becky, whatever. That is well done. Oh, that was lovely.
Becky, whatever, texted in last week.
Did she?
Yeah.
No.
I remember that.
You ruined
and
it.
she writes in your handwriting.
Yeah. No, that's a genuine girl. He's offered you, Middlesbrough Whitby. So if you're...
Put in an appeal nationwide and you get 3 replies, one from a bloke.
Woo! I don't get like that. That's
Not fine, I'm happy, I'm living
that's
the
a
dream.
genuine offer. That she's willing to have a drink, rearranging coins and extras.
We've got a Let's Play God and news and stuff.
We
It's
do.
funny stuff. Let's just get off my life.
Okay, fair enough. We'll move that. But that was a surge of love towards you. Did you
Yeah.
feel it? No, it was
It was a
genuine.
trickle.
It wasn't
It was a
s-
spurt.
Listen, you're a wonderful guy. Now, this is, as John pointed out, this is the part of the show where we play God. Oh, no, we don't. John, you son of a gun.
I said news story and then...
You did say news story. You heard the news about 10 minutes.
You're a wonderful guy. You're an idiot. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to do a show here.
Stop it. Sam, what's your news story?
It's a Serbian man needing emergency surgery after he had sex with a hedgehog.
There you go. That's
On a witch doctor's advice.
on a witch doctor's advice. Do we know the witch doctor?
We don't know the witch doctor himself, but the guy's called Zoran Nikolovic.
Okay.
And he's 25 from Belgrade, ladies.
Okay.
If you like the sound of Zoran, text in 3 of you.
So why
Although
did
I
you
should
do...
mention he was told to do it because it would cure his premature ejaculation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. He
Does that help?
well, they saved his penis afterwards.
That works of sorts, doesn't it?
Yeah, in effect.
Yeah.
My
It's a
favourite
start.
fact about premature ejaculation. Oh, that's not a good way to introduce
It's
that.
nice to have a favourite.
There's a gig that's run by a lovely lady called Moya, who is a sex therapist by week and runs a gig in the evenings.
Yes,
We were chatting.
we met her.
She said people who prematurely ejaculate, when they book in meetings to turn up and talk to her, they always turn up early. So say you book an appointment at 2 to discuss premature ejaculation.
Yeah.
They turn up at 1:45.
Yeah.
And people who suffer from retardant ejaculation, who ejaculate too late, turn up late for the meetings.
Is that right?
Fascinating, isn't
What
it?
about the people who stay there for ages?
Yeah, they don't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
They're liars.
So, so how does that work in any way? You got to feel sorry for the hedgehog. That's horrific, isn't it? You know, the worst that's going to happen to a hedgehog is going to get run over by a car, not pummed by some lunatic.
Friday was dark.
Yeah,
Imagine
exactly.
that on the diary.
But it's probably wrong. They probably just misheard. It was probably the advice from the witch doctor was probably like read
Rub the
Mrs. Tiggywinkle. And because if you read a Beatrix Potter book,
You've gone very wrong.
then you'll no, but that'll put you off if you're thinking about that, and he's misheard that as ride Miss Tiggywinkle and taken her home and shown her the time. Let's get off this subject. It's fairly disgusting. Right. So, but yeah, if you're listening in, that man from Belgrade, that was a bit daft, wasn't it? Although it has got rid of your premature ejaculation. But I don't know if you're really still with us. Anyways.
Probably still with us, yeah.
Let's play God!
So this is the part of the show where we get to play God, as the jingle would suggest. First thing I'd probably do is make it so that man in Belgrade is better and never has sex with a spiky animal again. What are you going to do, Sam?
Well,
If you were God, what would you do?
Since I was God, I thought about actually stopping the First World War, and then I found a better one. And speaking of...
Right, God.
Well, speaking of premature ejaculation, I think I would probably, being omnipresent, go to Jeremy Clarkson's bedroom and stick a webcam in every corner so you could see the tangible sense of sexual disappointment. Only
Better
kidding.
than
I
stopping
think
the First World War.
Yeah,
instead of stopping the First World War, I'd like to iron out some problems with Jeremy the Man Clarkson, I think.
Nice. Fair enough. What, specifically, what you just watching? Why?
Well, he strikes me maybe as a man who perhaps performs less adequately than
Adam, what's lovely about this, Adam has his hand on his mouth. Come on, let
he
Sam
strikes
speak.
me as
And
the
tell us the
ultimate-
truth about Jeremy.
Move on.
Oh, it'd be the ultimate court case, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine Sam versus Clarkson.
Wow.
You could maybe line up your respective partners and see who goes longest. We could do that another time. Yeah, get one of them dressed as a hedgehog, and then
Stop here.
Yeah. Well, that's what Sam would do. John, what would you do?
Mine's a preemptive strike against... it's basically linked to overheard conversations. I've started hearing stuff over and over again. I've had enough of it. So I'm putting in a synapse where as soon as you think to say something, certain phrases, it diverts, and instead of saying it, you're sick all over yourself.
Okay.
So people stop saying things. First one's preemptive, right? It's getting towards winter now. You're going to start hearing people who've just missed a bus or fallen over in the street, and they're going to go, typical, innit? Little bit of rain, this country grinds to a halt. It doesn't grind to a halt, you just missed your bus, right? No grinds to a halt, they'll be sick all over themselves.
Hang on a minute. So they missed their bus. They're a little bit upset. Typical. And then you want them to throw up on themselves.
Only if they think to say this country grinds to a halt. It doesn't. This country, there's stuff going on all the time. It's incredible. It doesn't grind to a halt just because you've missed one train. We all miss trains.
All right, God.
The second one is it's just a money-making scheme in it. I've heard this a few times this week, and I've had enough. Life is about making money. Everything's a money-making scheme. Just grow up. So...
Do you get that, Lennon?
Angry there, ladies.
Do you get that, Lennon? That was God. He don't like you.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a... The God is vicious there today. Mine's a little bit different. I've got the idea that we could have another set of hands that did all the minor admin and sorted out, you know, or maybe a clone, so that you could just get on with the fun parts of life rather than the admin.
Okay.
Or teleportation. I'd make it so that humans could think a destination in their head and then arrive there. Better for the environment and a lot of fun.
Tricky though. No, it wouldn't be as much fun because you've got to work to get somewhere, haven't you? If you could just be in Hawaii, you'd get bored of Hawaii.
That's it. Well, you've got to put on like 50. You know, if you can do 50 per year, and you've got to like earn the license.
1 a week.
Yeah, 1 a week. That's fine.
All right.
And then, but also, the awkward thing is, imagine that if you go, oh, I'll go to Belgrade, see my mate. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's a hedgehog, you animal! You know, you need to give people, but that's the problem, you need to give people warning. So there should be a system in place where, kind of, Sam is approaching Scunthorpe, and then you kind of, you know, stop doing what you're doing. But I think that's a good idea.
That could work.
Teleportation. Where would you go if you could go anywhere now? Right now? John?
Leicester.
Leicester, oi. Live the dream. You've got a gig there later.
I've got to be there later on, it just saves the drive.
At the Bottle Rocket, go there, ladies. Sam, where would you go?
5 minutes ago and decide to actually stop the First World War.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I'd say that or China. Because the First World War, yeah, it's done. It worked out all right. So
Jesus, let's move straight on. There you go. That theory was Wilfred Owen never put that. Oh well, never mind. You can text us 64046 or email russell.6music@bbc.co.uk. All the things you'd do if you were God. Hello, we're nearing the end of the show. You're listening to Russell Howard on Six Music. I think we've got to do one quick last bank before the end of the show, so we'll have to hurtle through the last couple of messages playing God. If I was God, I would never have invented wasps. What's the point?
Yeah.
Lenny from Winchester, another kindred spirit for John.
I'm scared of wasps.
You got beef with wasps? Yeah, same.
I've never been stung, so I'm not allergic to anything. So my head says I'm bound to be allergic to wasps. So when I get stung, I'm going to die.
Good thinking. Although one of the funniest things I saw this Edinburgh at the festival was Andy Zaltzman killing a wasp. I saw it on video. Our friend Andy. I don't know if you've met him, Sam.
Yes,
but there's video footage of him putting on his wasp hat and going, yeah, take it, wasp, yeah. And you hear John laughing in the background. It's really great. We've got a really lovely email in. We've just had from this is the nicest email we've had so far. It's from Misty2K. It says, congratulations, great show, which I now rate as bath-worthy, which I've never been before. I have a set of speakers in the bathroom linked to the hi-fi in my bedroom. When I take a bath, as I just did, I'm unable to turn the music off. So it's important that I trust the show to be good enough not to annoy me when I'm in the bath. I now trust you fellas not to give me the hump or suddenly play Coldplay or some such. Well done, D in Lancing, West at Sussex. You are now bath-worthy. How fantastic is that?
We're in the loop.
We're in the loop. We'll be massage-worthy soon. So that's the end of the show. Now, we found our football team we mentioned at the beginning. We had loads of emails in the end, but in the end we're going to go for Earl Marshall Juniors. So next week we're going to hear all about their escapades and some such. And we've also had an email in from Jenny in Stoke challenging us this week to become spies. So I don't know how we're going to do that, but we'll put some thought into it and we'll report back to you, Jenny. Now, it's the final song. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We've had lots of fun. Have a fantastic Sunday. This is a brilliant song to play out. This should put you just in the right mood to go on and enjoy your day. See you later. Bye.
Bye.
BBC